darkness deepens, Lord, with me abide. When other helpers fail and comforts flee, help of the helpless, oh, abide with me. Swift to its close ebbs out life's little day. Earth's joys grow dim, its glories pass away. Change and decay in all around I see. O thou who changest not, abide with me. PSK is making that green. People always say, what the hell does that mean? P is for the people who can't understand how one homeboy became a man. S is for the way you scream and shout. One by one I'm knocking you out. K is for the way his DJ's cutting. Other MCs, man, they ain't saying nothing. Rocking on to the break of dawn. I think cold money, your time is on. Welcome back to the podcast. In my ass. Shit in my ass and piss in my dick. Piss in my mouth, you stupid little prick. You a bitch, you a motherfucking ass player, son. Stick your dick in my ass and come. Oh, yeah. Ooh, bloody yeah. Someone's back on the caffeine pills. Caffeine pills, motherfucking caffeine pills. Stick those pills in my penis gills. I got gills on my dick, see, bitch. I'm a motherfucking deep sea creature, bitch. I breathe through my dick, through the gills on my dick. I got gills on my dick, cause I'm a fish bitch. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, bloody yeah. Bloody motherfucking yeah. Ooh, bitch. Wow. I'm spitting food onto my skin. I've taken caffeine pills for the first time in a long, long time. Oh, someone's been depressed and is looking for any possible means of cheering themselves up. Oh, I've got to do a podcast. Maybe I'll see if taking... I took a good handful of caffeine pills. I didn't just take a couple. I took a good handful. Oh my God! Wow. No, I actually did. I wasn't sure if because it'd been so long since I'd taken them. I was like, I can't remember if they do work that well or if I'm gonna really even feel them. So I took a bunch. That might have been a mistake. I'm gonna feel that later. PSK. Making that green. People always say, what the hell does that mean? Abide with me. Fast falls the eventide. The darkness deepens, Lord, with me abide. I need thy presence every waking hour. I think I inserted a line where it weren't needed, or where it went somewhere else. Hymns are a funny thing, aren't they? Hymners. I have so many of them ingrained in my stupid fucking skull from years upon years upon years spent going to church and singing them fucking day in and day out. Because that's... So church, you'd go to church on Sunday, it starts at 10, and you'd have the first hour was like the church meeting, and then after that it's like Sunday school, 2 separate sessions of Sunday school. So the first hour was the church service, where you get talks from the bishop, the guy in charge, and then a couple of talks from people in the congregation, and then any business from the higher ups. And then during that, you take the sacrament, the bread and water. It was in this case because Mormons don't drink alcohol, so there's no wine. So it's bread that's blessed. They just tear up sliced white bread and they bless it. To say this is now blessed as 'twould be body of the Christ man, and then water, and they bless it and they say as 'twould be the blood. I even remember the prayers. O God, the eternal Father, we ask thee in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ, to bless and sanctify this bread to the souls of all those who partake of it, that they may eat in remembrance of the body of thy Son, which was given unto thee, O Lord, the eternal Father. Some shit. Fucking hell. And then there'd be 3 hymns. There'd be an opening hymn, an intermediate hymn right before you take the sacrament, and then a closing hymn. So you'd sing a whole shitload of fucking hymns. And now they're all in my head. And that Abide With Me is wasn't strictly a hymn. It wasn't in the Mormon hymn book, but it's certainly a known one. It's more of a popular one. It was even in the film, quite a good rendition of it actually, in the film 28 Days Later, which is one of my favourite films. Most of them are a cappella, but like when we would sing hymns in the church, we'd have somebody play the electronic organ to accompany that shit. But the version of Abide With Me, it was a cappella, no music, in 28 Days Later. It's quite a good version of it, as far as that shit goes. But I have a weird sort of like, I don't know if it's certain hymns or whatever, but in some ways I have like trauma responses to hymns, like when I hear some of them or think about some of them or get one or several stuck in my head, it brings back not horrific memories but not great memories of church and that time in general, and just like Sideshow Bob stepping on the rakes again and again in The Simpsons. That whole thing. Caffeine. Yeah, but then every now and again, I don't know, I get a weird sort of feeling of comforts from these hymns. It's weird, man. Those hymns, I don't know. I think maybe it's just certain times, when I feel in need of comfort. Maybe the tone and the sort of orchestral vibe of the hymns give me some kind of weird comfort. I don't know. And then I start thinking about Christ and how he died for me. And I was like, and I think maybe didn't have to do that, Jesus. If you'd said, Ewan, it's okay, I'll die for your sins, I'd have said, no, you don't. You don't have to. It's fine. I'll deal with it. They're my sins. I'll deal with the repercussions. There's going to be many more. Don't you worry. There's plenty of sinning still to be done. I don't think you need to die for me, Jesus. Don't assume I want you dead in order that I may have eternal life. Honestly, eternal life? Nah, I could do without it. But that's a weird thing about really. It's in the second verse I sung. What's the line? Change and decay in. Oh no, it's before that. Earth's joys grow dim. Its glories pass away. Which I relate to that. Earth's joys growing dim and its glories passing away. That's I can't relate. I tell you what, sir. And then change and decay in all around I see. O thou who changest not, abide with me. Which is just again, it's very, as I've said many times, emblematic. Is that the word? Emblematic of a sort of refusal to change, almost to like change and decay are bad, and you need to remain the same forever and ever, eternally. Thou who changest not. That's what we need. We need something that changes not. No change, no decay. But that's the whole point, isn't it? Change and decay. That's what it's about. It's about changing. You change your skin like a snake or a lizard, which is religious folk. Snakes and lizards, the lot of them. They're all the serpents. It's a sort of refusal to accept change and decay, and to think no, everything has to last forever and ever and ever, and if it doesn't, then it's bad. And that's, I don't know, it's just silly. I was speaking to my friend Sam fairly recently because I saw him over New Year's, which was good. We had a good time. And we were sort of like, joking around, saying, wouldn't it be funny if I became a priest? Because there's, I don't know if it's like an official story that came out, but I think it's a generally known and accepted thing that like a lot of priests, well, not a lot, but there certainly are a number of priests who are priests as a job. They don't necessarily believe in what they're preaching. They're basically atheists. But they understand the Bible as what it sort of is and intended for. They understand the rituals involved in the church and stuff. And maybe they grew up religious and have later decided that it's not for them. But they're a priest because it's sort of, they know how to do it. It's a job they can do. Like any job, No one wants to fucking work in a shoe store, but if it's a job you can do and you can get the job, then fucking there you go. Do the job you can get. And if it's a job that's, almost going to keep you employed for essentially the best part of your, not best part, but like the large portion of your life, if it's like guaranteed employment or whatever, then, that might be worth fucking looking into. And I was talking to my friend Sam, saying, wouldn't it be funny to do that, to get a job as a priest? And I got to be honest, I'm halfway seriously looking into it. In like, I know I could do it because I've got public speaking down. I know I can do that. Like I say, the church I went to, the congregation I'd given many talks in front of the church I went to because that's how it operated. And I know and understand, in part the Bible and its messages and stuff. And I think I could be a good priest and like actually, teach the shit that's supposed to be taught, not, I could be like use the word of God and, teach actual lessons and how to be a good person and stuff. And, if depending on the type of church or you go to or priest you are, get given a little home next to the church, a little vicar house or whatever. and that's all taken care of. You wear your black shirt with the white collar. That's pretty dapper looking, pretty nice little outfit for yous. It could be a pretty sweet gig, I think. And then I got so what I would do, I explained all this to Sam as well, is whenever I was given a talk, because like a couple of weeks beforehand, the bishop would come up to you and say, hey, I've got a talk assignment for you. I need to give you a little letter with like the topic they want you to talk on, and maybe a few basic like scripture references you can or could look up to utilise. But ultimately it's up to you, and you can use whatever references you want. They don't necessarily even have to be scripture directly. You can use pop culture references to make your point if that's what you feel would benefit the talk you want to give, as long as you sort of base it around the topic given, and it has some kind of like spiritual shit. You get it. But more often than not, even if I ever did put planning into it, like a little bit beforehand, do research and find scripture references, almost every time I'd scrap all that. Once I was standing at like the pulpit in front of everybody about to give my talk, I'd have in my head like everything I've come up with for research is nonsense, and I don't know what the fuck I was doing looking it all up. So I'd scrap it all and for the most part just make stuff up on the spot. I'd read a couple of like Bible references or whatever, just because. But for the most part, yeah, I'd just sort of wing it and make it up on the spot. So I figure if I was going to be like an official, priest as my job title or whatever, that's probably what I'd do is I'd put a bunch of stuff together the night before, just a few loose references, just Google like scripture references relevant to the topic I want to discuss, a few bits and pieces, and then for the most part I use all my spare time for drawing. I work on my comics, on my Gun Viking comics, and then use the references I found, make it all up on the spot on the day, on the Sunday, talk to people, do the whole fucking confessional and communion or whatever. It would also be fun because that's not something I've directly experienced, because the Mormon church I went to was very, very specific in its sort of like its traditions and things that it did, all that sort of stuff. So it would be fun. I don't know about fun, maybe not fun, but it'd be interesting to actually participate in a more traditional, like Christian Catholic sort of bunch of rituals and shit. I don't know, might be fun. Be a job, wouldn't it? Steady paycheck, give me time to work on my drawings. And then one day, I don't know, they'd be like inspecting my home or just checking things out. And they'd find all my sketchbooks full of atrocious drawings, and they'd be like, Ewan, what is this? Father Ewan, Father McLaughlin, what is all of this? And then I'd run away and they'd never see me again. And then I'll meet an Irish vampire, and we go on an adventure with me and my girlfriend, and we'd fight Nazis, and I'd have the word of God, and I could make people do whatever. Like Preacher, like in the comic that became a pretty okay TV show. I liked this. I was always pretty proud of this bit with the black and white. It's always good to throw a bit of grayscale in amongst the colour. So you have the grayscale with the purple in the background, and then the colour pop of the orange. That's supposed to be a little finger, and then the hand bursting out of the corpse, and then it's the zombies, which are probably not directly, but kind of obviously are based on Skyrim. Draugr. Psh, click. Bam. That's good. I like that smile. I always did like this panel here with his grin when he's figuring out his whole plan here. And then I think still to this day, out of the entire book, This is one of my favourite spreads. Just because it's cool and it's also relatively well painted and well thought out. I quite like it just in general. This panel maybe not so much, and also the direction is a little bit, I don't know if maybe I should have had this flipped around so it was like facing that way and then facing that way and then that way and then this way. I don't know. But yeah, I like the bullets do nothing to the zombies. They're all there like, and he's like, God damn it. An axe. See, axe, question mark. Interrobang or whatever that's called. Axe with all the spent shells on the floor. Sees all these weapons. Hand. Grins. Picks them all up in his fist. Shoves them into his cannon, his big popper. And then babooms them out. Whoosh. This could be a bit clearer. I think there's maybe too many lines and the weapons don't stand out quite as much as they ought to. But then this, I love this panel still. I'm really happy with how this is painted. The sound effects are quite cool. The half head brain and everything. The head's coming off like this. Really like that. And the colours and everything, the purple and orange, that works well. Really, really happy with that. Hey, let's take a look at an up. Is it too self-indulgent or like blowing myself, tooting my own horn to look at my own book as an art book? But it's I guess not quite a year, but almost a year since I bought this out. So look back on it, you know, I'm drawing Gun Viking. Oh, look at Gun Viking. Let's gun some Vikings. I think that might be the only drawing or picture of Gun Viking with an ear. I don't know why I gave him an ear. I don't know if I'd planned to have him have ears throughout. But stuck one on there. I might have just felt like doing it. I don't know. Wind noise. That's funny. That happens a lot. Is I'd planned. It was an issue with the red V on his chest as well. Is I'd planned to have that be a thing forever and ever. I'd also planned to have him have his belt with axes and stuff, and every now and again I'd have different guns and different axes hanging in his belt. But then the more I drew him, see this axe in his belt, the more it just became like tiresome to add all these details, which is why I always say Judge Dredd is such a fucking annoying character to draw, especially if you're drawing him in a storied series of panels over a comic, because there's so much fucking detail in this. Two completely different kinds of shoulder pads, and the chain from his collar to his badge, and the badge itself, and the pouches on his belt, and his gloves are detailed. They got pouches, his fucking elbow and knee pads, his boots. There's so much detail. The fucking very specific design of his helmet that's really easy to fuck up. And so I think that's where Gun Viking got more and more simplified the more I drew him. And here, he has like an all-over head mask, whereas later on, right here, I cut the top off just because I thought it looked cooler here when I was drawing it to have his hair come out like this. As he says about, God damn it, fucking can't turn the pages. Where he's saying, oh, you did bandage me up, if not a little much. And she says, well, some of them are necessary, but the others just make you look more impressive. And he goes, you're not wrong. That's why, because, yeah, that looks cool, you know. Still stick his helmet on, but, yeah, he's got less detail. The bandages are fairly easy to draw and paint, so it's just lines. That's fair enough. It's whatever. It makes him look cool, and that's what I wanted. The whole point of this comic was just for it to be a cool fucking thing to look through. Look at that! That looks pretty good. I mean, it seems silly to say so, because it's the Doi, obviously. Every single page of this I could go back and paint better, quote unquote, now than I could back then. But still, for the time, I think that's a really good page. Sitting under the stars with the northern lights. The colours, I was really happy with the colours of the sky and all, and then him with his little campfire. This was one of my favourite panels of the entire comic, besides the spread. See, I had my favourite spread, and this is one of my favourite just drawings in the entire comic, is this, because a lot of times, even for simple things, sometimes it can take drawings and drawings and drawings and drawings to get it right. I think the pose isn't even fantastic, but it still took a few tries to sort of figure out exactly where I wanted his arms and his legs and stuff. But then this went from doodle, and I was sort of happy with the shape, and then I traced it, and this was basically the first try of getting this tiger thing. I looked up tigers, I drew one that I thought might work with the angle and pose and everything, and straight away I had it down, and I was like, fucking yes, perfect, fucking yes. And I was happy with how I painted it. I liked having all the silhouette of it or whatever, all the shadow, the skin flaps from his legs to his torso and the stripes and all. I was really happy with this. One of the best bits of the comic. And then it's got the old gag of not showing the scene but having something about to happen as he leaps at Gun Viking on the ground. And then just after the thing happens of the skinned tiger being turned into a tent. And Gun Viking eating its skin. That's funny, isn't it? That's funny. I really like... I was always a bit iffy. I almost took this page out when I put the whole graphic novel together. I wasn't sure if it worked or not, having all the Gun Viking jumping around his head, shooting him, but I left it in because fuck it. Really liked this pose, this page. Not so much these. The poses are a bit awkward. But it tells the story, it does the job. But then this leap here, with him jumping up this arm and his legs splayed out as he's pointing his gun at the Mountain King. That's one of my favourites as well, the Uncrushable. It doesn't make sense, like this leg, the foot should be like here, but the foot would actually be like here somewhere, I don't even know. But that was done purposely to have, I wanted at least a few panels or pages that you could just have as like, almost use like publicity images. Like you have that picture of Gun Viking with the minigun, like spot on, perfect. This, I was really happy with this. Have like the blacked out Mountain King, and then I cut these purple bits as stencils and spray painted them, and I'm so happy with how that came out. Like it looks blocky, as I wanted it to look, because he's just made of giant rocks, and it just gives him enough form to make it look fairly solid. And then the silhouette there with the lighting underneath him, really liked that. So there's some parts of this, even still today, I'm really happy with. It's easy to look back on anything you've done and go, that's shit, I could do that better now, but there are still parts that I look at and go, that's pretty good, I did pretty good there. And that's, like I've said, I paint and draw shit that I want to look at for the most part. I did this comic about a Viking with guns because I wanted to draw a cool Viking with guns so I could look at drawings of a cool Viking with guns and have gunfights and stuff. I thought that was cool, and so that's why I did it. And so I'm glad that I can still look through this and find parts that I still like and want to look at and go, oh, look at that. Look, I actually did something good. This, I was quite happy with. This is one of those ones I'd been planning for years and years in my head of like, I'm going to have this like double page spread of this place with all these hickledy-pickledy, topsy-turvy buildings on top of each other. I think I got the basic idea down well enough. You get the idea. They're sort of built on and into the cliff sides. I would have liked to, I think maybe if I spent more time on it, make it have like cables hanging with washing lines with clothes hanging on them, more people. It should be more hustly-bustly. Even just a couple of people here just to fill in some space. But I was quite happy with it overall. I think it gives the impression that I'm going for. I was quite happy with the colouring as well, where I started mixing in the blues so it fades a bit into the distance, so it's not all just the solid browns. That's terrible. I hate this panel. I did this about 2 or 3 times, and that was the best I could come up with. So I know that's one of those things where you just have to sort of accept it and get on with it. But then between this and this is years, like 2 or 3 years at least, maybe more. Happy with the fire, that came out really nice. Bit too much space here. It feels like this should be filled in a little bit, just something, maybe some extra fire here or something on fire. A body, I don't know. The kids, they look pretty funny. Gun Viking agree. This I had planned out for years and years and years as well. I'd drawn so many like silly rough drawings of these beasts, these steeds or whatever, because I just wanted, it was such a specific idea in my head for no reason, but I was just like, I have to put that in the comic just because, with these flat faces and horns and this dumb like "Buh" look as he says, "Your steeds are strange." Buh. This was another one. I did a really rough little thumbnail of how I wanted this, because it's a really difficult one to draw, of like two of these beasts running with a chariot behind them with Gun Viking and Freya in the back. And it's so easy to fuck that up. And I was so worried about it for so long. I did one thumbnail sketch and I was like, oh shit, that might actually be good. Tried drawing it bigger, could not repeat that thumbnail on a bigger size. So I blew it up, I traced it. And frankly, I'm really happy with it. The one foot on the ground, the others all sort of almost floating with the shadow in blue as well. So it's got like an underglow on them. The snow spraying, the chariot shape's cool, the hair. I'm really happy with that. I like this whole page in general. I think the shape works well. Her hand with the shadow and everything, the hair. Really happy with that page. That's a really good one. A good one. That's a really good one. Go me. I liked these marauders. They were fun to draw. And that was completely, as is most of this, the design choices, the idea of drawing them like gimps or whatever. It was never like, oh, I'm going to draw them as gimps and it'll be this weird group of marauders that are all like these weird sex slaves. It's just when I was putting the comic together in my head, as I have done forever, for years sometimes leading up to me actually drawing it, when I pictured the marauders I'd put in my comic, this is just what was in my head. It wasn't actively trying to make them sex slaves. Same with the design of the book. It was never, oh, I'm going to design it. It's going to have, what if I give it a purple background and then do this kind of font with the picture? It was just when I pictured the graphic novel in my head, this is roughly what I saw, so that's what I tried to replicate physically, and for the most part I got it. And it's the same with these guys. It's just that's just happened to be the image roughly in my head, so I tried to translate that onto the page. So it was never an active choice to make them look like gimps. It just happened that way. This is a really cool page. I think I maybe should have had this panel reversed so it's going this way, because it flings off this way, so it feels like it's going down this way and then flinging off that way, where it should be this way and then that way. It should be like pulling it back this way and then it flies off that way. A big boulder with the face on it going right towards them, boom, in the ground, which is mirroring the panel where Gun Viking gets squished by the Mountain King. So you think maybe that's going to happen again, but then you see, nope, they missed, it landed next to them. And there's something about this panel that, for me, feels really good in terms of how it's painted. It might be the blue shadow again. And I feel like the distance between them is good. It's close, but not too close. The background works nicely with the stripes of the different shades of blue. And the little people, again, the little crayon people or whatever. Really like that. I'm really happy with that page. This was another one that was planned for years and years. I'm really not happy with it overall. It does the job. It tells the story. You get the point. Chariot, beast charging through, blowing people away with a gun. It looks okay, but I think I should have painted it a bit smaller and squashed more details into it. Maybe more rocks and background stuff, more marauders being shot to pieces. Should have sorted out the middle, maybe had her a bit to the left. It's fine, it works, you get the idea. It's a good enough, parts of it are pretty cool. It was a bastard to paint the sky and whatever, but yeah, that's one I wasn't terribly happy with. This is one of the best pages in here because it was the first page drawn of the entire fourth issue, or third or whatever it was. And I did it all in ballpoint pen, so it's got loads of little details that other pages don't have, that I then painted over. So it's one of the best pages in terms of drawing and painting. I'm really happy with that. I really like this. The mouth, that again, mirroring the grin from issue 1, I think. Yeah, mirroring that of like, shit's going bad, he's in a tough way, but things are going to happen. Things going bad, he's in a tough way. I like this, the arm being really close and stuff. And then he's got an almost grin. And then this was all painted in red, which I was really happy about because it'd be really easy to just paint it and then throw a red filter on it. But I put the work in, actually painted it in reds. I added red to all like the purples and yellows and stuff to make it all red, red, red. Saturn devouring his son. I don't know if the orange, the bold orange, is necessary here, but it's whatever. That's quite a cool panel of him casually walking back to the chariot. Little legs there. Pretty cool. Yeah, that was cool. I like this. This is cool. This was another one that was drawn way before. That was the first page I did, and it was done way before the rest of issue 4. I was quite relatively happy with this, like not castle but fortification or whatever, because I didn't want to just draw a castle. I wanted a group of buildings, and I just added random spikes just to make it look more imposing. And again, I think I put the idea across of what I'm trying to show. And that's my head on a spike. Knocks on the door. Big bad evil guy, which is almost just straight taken from Skyrim. That's obviously an ancient Nord helmet, just whatever armour. These in my head were like Daedric gauntlets from Skyrim. And then we go into the flashback. Parts of this I'm happy with, parts of it I'm not so happy with. Originally, this like demon thing that follows them, or follows him, that shows up again here and here. Like here, it was just supposed to be silhouettes of people, because I couldn't be fucked to draw the details of more people. And then it turned into some random like demon-looking thing. I really like this panel. The white flash of light as something flashes in the sky, and the shadows of the leaves and stuff. Well, that was really effective. His arm's huge there for some reason. I don't know how clear this is. This is one of those things where it's a lot of times I just paint and draw a bunch of shit in a picture, and then I worry afterwards if you can actually tell what's going on, or if I've just mashed too much together. So I don't know if you can tell that it's like a cosmonaut in like a spacesuit kind of thing. But whatever. That face is one of the best parts of the entire comic in terms of drawing and painting. Accidentally shoots them. This panel's pretty cool with them being blown away as he flashes back. I don't need to explain the story. I'm just looking at the art, yeah. Really like the suit here, all the creases and shit. That's pretty cool. Another one of those, like, he lunges, schlunk, something's about to happen, and then something's just happened. Don't show his arms being cut off. And then you show the guy you showed just before and just after. And the three faces, his reaction, her reaction, his reaction. That's quite a cool little thing. That's a cool page. I don't know. It works. And then there he is lying. And that was another one planned for years and years to have him have his arms cut off. And again, in my head, it was just plain red circles at the end of each arm. So I could have scenes like this with the pools of blood just being bold red, rather than worrying about details and, you know, whatever. And then this is cool, where he stands up angrily, and then all the veins and shit. And this, in my head, the means, what I think would have been cool would be to have this whole bit here, this scene where he grows guns out of his arms, to have it all pull out, so it's one long thing, rather than you turn the pages, you pull it out, and it's one long thing of these different panels in a row. And then on the flip side, you fold that over, and then it's a long stretch of him blowing people away like this. These panels were cool as well. They came out pretty good. All the muscles in his back there done pretty well. His head being shot off, and then here, all these little bodies being blown up and blown apart. The red mist. And there's always Gun Viking's really fun to draw from behind. That was like page 2 of issue 1. You just get really good shapes, especially if you do like silhouette. I don't know, there's something about that. So I do that quite often. Draw Gun Viking from behind, especially shooting his guns, because you get some really good shapes and imagery. I don't know, there's a bunch in there from that. And this was meant to almost mirror, again, that from issue 1. So they're relatively similar. And I do have almost a regret of like not spending more time, because he grows guns out of his arm, and I blow them up across pages, and there he is, and he shoots for a couple of pages, huffing and panting, and then the next page, the guns fall away from his arms and his hands grow back, almost like it never happened. But, you know, maybe it's a bit of a shame. It would have been fun to spend more time with him having gun arms, but whatever. At this point, I just needed to get the story done and get the book together. That's all I wanted to do. I was really happy with this page. I like the yellows and everything. I'm really, really happy with the drawing and paintings of these parts. Everyone loves this panel. That was a good one. And the gun appears out of nowhere. This panel I cut in half and then put the other half here as he puts his gun to his neck and then shoots his head off. And then this is all just sort of like story, get it out of the way so we can get to this point. Ba-ba-ba-bam. Another one I'd been planning for years upon years. Finally got it done. I think I got maybe 60 to 70% of the impact that I was going for with this page. Really happy with the bones and everything. You've got Gun Viking with the big bad guy helmet with the Marauders pleading their loyalty to him, with his helmet on the floor right next to the end with the bullet shell. All very ominous. I don't know what all this is. I'm just sort of trying to imply bad things going on with this stuff in this panel. But yeah, a cool spread. I was really happy with that. And then this is supposed to be the body of the big bad evil guy hanging upside down by his feet from there. There's like a beam hanging out with a rope on it at the top of the tower. And it's supposed to be that with his head off. I don't know how obvious that is. And then a bunch of artwork, some of which is quite cool, I think. One of my favourite Gun Viking paintings of all time, that. I really, really like that. This was okay. It'll do when I eventually reprint issue 4 as a separate issue. Skateboarding. That's that first page of issue 3 I drew with all the... And this was like a drawing of a possible like future design of Gun Viking. More simplistic design with the helmet and all, the new helmet, bandages and stuff, and an AK just because. Which is quite different from, you know, the original like Gun Viking design. From like that to that. Just updated as he's grown. You know. Stuff changing and decay. It's all part of it. And these were, planned years and years ago. Having his arms cut off, having guns grow in his arms. This, I sort of halfway did. I gave him half as many arms here in the 24-hour comic I did. It all comes around. All these ideas that I've had. I'll get them all done eventually. But yeah, there's as would make sense. There's a bunch of stuff I sort of would go back and change if I could. This pile of bodies fucking stinks, but it's whatever. Alright, are we going to talk about it? You may have, the astute ones of you, and I know I have many, you're all very intelligent. I have the most intelligent people that watch my videos, my podcasts, because there's not many of them. There's not many intelligent people, but the ones that are there are the ones who actually watch my videos. May have noticed there wasn't a podcast the last couple of weeks. That's because it's getting bad again. I'm not been doing well in my mental health. My mental hell. Get it? I recorded one that was meant to be on sort of Christmas / New Year's, just before that, or between Christmas and whatever. I recorded it, and then afterwards I was just sitting there like, this is shit. This is shit. What's the fucking point? Just fucking ugh. Fuck it, I'm not uploading it. Fuck it. No podcast this week. I'm fucking shit, fuck. Fuck, piss, shit and farts. So I said fuck it. And then the following week, I was about to record one, and I sat at my desk all ready to go, and all I could think was fuck it. just fucking fuck it. I just fuck. And that's pretty much how I've been feeling of late. I've been putting on weight, which sort of... one thing I realised, because I was doing so well, and I know you know I was doing well, because I would say I had maybe a few months where I was saying how, hey everyone, I'm doing well, positive, and I'm losing weight, and I'm trying, and I'm getting through things, and things are going okay, and I'm doing this and doing that. And then somewhere, I don't know how or where or when or why, somewhere it all just fucking stopped. It literally felt like I was in a car cruising, and then it just fucking hit traffic. I was cruising, I don't know, it was a convertible and the roof was down, and the wind in my scalp, getting dust in my eyes, but I didn't mind because I was enjoying the ride. I was with Sam, maybe. We had cool music on. We were talking about being a priest and talking about penises and shit. Just fun, loving, good stuff. And then suddenly, out of fucking nowhere, we hit traffic. And it was just a dead stop. And that's exactly how it felt. I was doing okay. I was on the mend. I don't know if I was getting better per se, but I was certainly... And I know you probably would have almost certainly noticed through my videos, like, oh wow, Ewan seems like he's doing really good at the moment. That's really cool. I'm glad for him, or whatever. And then suddenly, it was so sudden, it just fucking stopped. And I don't know, I maybe I just ran out of energy. But that's one thing I realised is, like, very similar to losing weight with depression and anxiety or whatever it is, you can put in the effort and you can try to get better. You can do these things to aim to improve your situation as best you can where you feel you can. But then you might come to a point where you feel like, oh, hey, I'm better now. Like, this is cool. But in the same way, if you lose weight, as I did a little while ago, I lost quite a lot of weight and I was getting more comfortable in myself physically. I was wearing shorts when it was in the summer for the first time in fucking like a decade or more. I was more comfortable with myself physically. But that's the sort of thing that once you lose some weight, if you want to stay at that weight, you have to maintain, you have to keep up the routine you got into to maintain that weight. Because if you just stop, if you go, oh, cool, I've lost some weight, now I can stop, then you just go back into your normal habits and you start putting weight on again, which is exactly what happened. But that's the same with mental health, is you put all these things into practice. You try to work on your sleep schedule. You try to think more positively, have a daily schedule you work to. You get work done, you work on yourself, you have these positive affirmations, you think positively about certain things, and then you start going, oh cool, things are going okay now, I can just relax. But then that's the mistake, I guess, is when you think, cool, it's okay to relax, that's when it stops working. And that's when all the bad shit comes back. Because you have to, like with losing weight, you can't just lose weight and that's it. You have to really make a lifestyle change. You have to change how you eat and how you approach food and exercise. You can't just lose some weight and then go right back to what you were doing before, because then you're going to lose all the progress you'd made. Same with mental health. You have to... I'm repeating the same thing again and again, and I am aware of that, and I'm sorry, but I'm just... So it's been getting bad again, and I'm struggling to find the energy that I had before to try to make it good. And that's... so, and that's one thing, that's like whatever. So, oh, sorry, there's no fucking hour-long video from me that week and then the next week, because, I don't want to be making videos. I don't want to be doing anything. I don't want to be alive. and I know you're all cool and you don't, I might get a couple of messages being like, "Whoa, no podcast this week. What's up?" But for the most part, I know you will get it. You will understand. You will have your own issues. I'm not, Mr. Mental Illness. I don't claim to own it. You all have your own issues, and I appreciate that. And with that, it means we all have a sort of understanding of and with each other, which is very, very cool. It's a good thing to have. And that opens up possible systems of support, which is very, very good to have. So, yes, sorry if I can't make a video all the time, but hence lots and lots of caffeine supplements. Get that energy somewhere. I don't know. Do something. Try. So I don't know what's going to happen. I'm aiming to make doctor's appointments, but that's just one other thing that makes me fucking shake to the point of almost having a panic attack of just it being more things that I have to do that I can't bring myself to do because apparently I'm fucking... Well, I say I'm fucking worthless, but because I'm not doing well and therefore I'm finding it difficult to do things that I found easier earlier and managed to do before. I'm finding it difficult to do those things again. So I'm sure I'll get back on track sooner or later. For now, I'm trying to do more sketchbook pages because I missed doing sketchbook pages. I got a new book as a gift. This sketchbook was one of many gifts from somebody. So I want to try and... That's one thing I really miss from doing so much commission work is actually just drawing in my sketchbooks and stuff. So I'm going to try to do more of that, more like this sort of thing. So maybe there'll be more of that to show here and or there. Oh, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I'm just trying to explain. Oh, you don't even need me to explain. You get it. I know you all get it, and that's cool. It's all good. It's all good. Hey, look, it's a Viking with guns. What was his name? Charles. Wouldn't that have been so funny? I've got this comic. It's about a Viking, but he's got guns and he blasts people apart and stuff. Oh, cool. What's his name? Charles Charlesington, the Viking with guns. Oh, that's a bit of a peculiar name for a Viking with guns. Shouldn't it be like Thorin or Thor or fucking Skarblad or whatever Viking names are? I don't know. No, fuck you. I call him Charles. He does have a name, by the way. That's going to be a reveal somewhere down the line. I've figured out exactly how I want... Like I said, a lot of the stuff in the Gun Viking that currently exists was planned years and years in advance because I have these stories in my head, or these ideas for pages, at least in my head, if not full stories. And I have very recently sort of figured out exactly how I want the entire sort of saga to end. I've got a very specific ending planned, which I would like to do one day. And I have... Yeah, I've got the ending of Gun Viking planned. And part of that involves you learning his name. You know, I won't give spoilers away, but... Or, I mean, it might not necessarily be his name. It's certainly a name that can be applied to him or whatever. I think it would be a really cool ending. I guess as far as that goes, currently, literally right now, not right now, but within the frame of time of me sitting and recording these things, I may or may not actually physically be working on the next issue of Gun Viking. So that's something.
$99, 32-inch LCD TV, $299, LG 42-inch HD, $499, everything's a sale during Christmas and JJ Drag. $99, 32-inch LCD.